I want to ask you something real quick. When was the last time someone commented on your post and said, "This is exactly what I needed," or "You always know just what to say," or "I love your content so much"? Feels good, right? Like you're doing something right. Now, when was the last time someone commented and said, "How do I work with you?" or "Where do I sign up?" or "I need this, send me the link"? Because here's the thing, there are two very different audiences, and most of you are building one of them when you think you're building the other. So today we're going to talk about exactly why your content is getting views, getting saves, and making zero sales, and the specific shift that fixes it. Welcome back to Sold Out Sales School. I'm Trish Ware, former labor and delivery nurse, mom of 7, homeschooling mom. You may know me as Labor Nurse Mama because I founded that selling directly to moms and parents. And I have built 2 7-figure businesses. So this is episode number 6 of a 9-part series that we are right in the middle of the thick of. If you've been following along, you already know why your buyer is different, what the know, like, trust actually means, how to claim your expertise, and what it really means to decide, and why simplicity scales. So today we're going to dive in on content, specifically why yours might be working by every metric, which I call vanity metrics, except for the one that actually matters. So let's jump into it. I want to tell you about a woman I've seen walk through my world more times than I can count. Okay, so we're going to call her Sally because that's always my fictitious name. Sally has 50,000 followers. She has been creating content consistently for years. Her reels get tons of views. Her carousels get saves. She goes live and people show up. Her comments are full of women saying she's their favorite account, that her content always resonates, that they share everything she posts. And then she launches an offer for $47, and crickets, not a flood, not a trickle, maybe a handful of sales from people who already knew her personally. And she comes to me devastated, completely confused, because why, by every measure, are all the Instagram gurus teaching her she's doing it right? But here's what I look at when I look at Sally's content, because I've had a couple Sallys in my world. She's bouncing. One day she is sharing her morning routine. The next, she's posting a motivational quote. The next, she's doing a recipe, then a parenting tip, then something about her marriage, then something about her workout, then something about her business journey, all of it. And it's warm and it's engaging, but it's disconnected from what she's buying. Her content looks like an influencer, not an expert. And influencers build audiences. They don't build buyers necessarily. They sell other people's stuff, not their own. So the second thing I noticed is Sally almost never talked about her offer. And when I pointed that out, she said, "But Trish, I talked about it last Tuesday. Like, isn't it too much to talk about it every day?" And I said, "Girl, nobody is watching all your content at once. Your buyer is a mom. She is not sitting down with a notepad cataloging everything you've posted. She's scrolling in the school pickup line with one eye on the clock. She sees what's in front of her right now. So if your offer is not in front of her right now, today, this post, this story, this reel, she doesn't even know it exists." That is not an exaggeration. That is how it works. That is how attention works. And that is how the mom buyer works. So Sally had 50,000 people who loved her, and almost none of them knew what she sold. So here's the principle I want you to write down. There is a massive difference between an audience that loves you and an audience that buys from you. And the gap between those two things is not more content, is better content and daily selling. So I'm going to break that down for you. The women who love your content but never buy, I call them freebie seekers. They are not bad people. They are not even bad followers. They're just not in a buying mode yet. And the reason they're not in a buying mode is because your content never put them there. Here's what a freebie seeker content sounds like in the comments, right? "You're so inspiring. Oh my gosh, I needed to hear this today. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm saving this. Your energy is amazing. Where did you get those earrings?" Things like that. Beautiful comments, $0, because you're not selling earrings. Here's what buyer content sounds like in the comments. "Oh my gosh, how do I sign up? Is this still available? DM me the link. I've been waiting for something like this. Oh my gosh, I need this. What do I do next?" Same platform, same audience size, completely different content. completely different result. The difference is not your niche, it is not your follower account, it's not the time of day you post or the hashtags you use or whether your grid looks perfect. The difference is whether your content is seeing her where she is, diagnosing her problem, or is it just entertaining her? So here's what Sally's content was missing. Every single post was about Sally, her life, her thoughts, her experience, her morning, her family, her feelings. And none of it, almost none of it at least, was about her buyer's problem. Remember when we talked about in the episode, know, like, trust means you know her, not that she knows you. And I believe that's episode 43 if you want to go back and listen to it. But you are not building the kind of trust that moves her from just liking a post to pulling out her credit card. And the content shift that changed everything for Sally and for every client that I walk through this is simple. You stop creating about you and start diagnosing her. And you need to know her better than she knows her. Like, you need to articulate and show accurately what she's feeling and thinking so that she thinks you've been reading her diary. Stop being relatable and start being relevant. Stop performing and start prescribing. And when you do that, you will start selling every single day. The last one is the one that gets most pushback from the clients I work with. When I tell my clients to sell every day, they look at me like I just, suggested something scandalous. And they say, but won't I be annoying? Won't people unfollow me? I don't want to be one of those counts that's always pitching. And I want to say, here's what I asked them. And I'm going to ask you as well. If you walked into a store and every time you went in the store had products on the shelves, would you feel annoyed? Would you cancel the store? No, because that's what a store does. It sells. And when you become known as a business with an offer, selling is not a flaw. It's the point. Like, Starbucks is not worried about selling you coffee. So here's the truth about your buyer that nobody talks about. She's not watching all your content. She's not catching every story. She's not reading every caption. The algorithm is showing her maybe 1 out of every 5 or 6 things you post, and that's on a good day. So if you mention your offer once a week, most of your audience will see it 0 times. If you mention your offer every single day in different ways, woven in naturally into your content, infuse it, not as a hard pitch, but as a logical next step of what you're already teaching. Now she starts to see it. Now it registers. Now she starts to think, wait, she keeps talking about this. Maybe I should actually look into it. And if you're worried about people not following you or unfollowing you, then they're not your people. Unfollowing is not a bad thing, okay? When you sell, you sell. That is not a theory. That is a pattern I've seen repeat itself. The women who sell consistently are the women who sell. Not because they're more talented, not because they have a better offer, because they show up for their offer every single day the way they show up for their content. So let me give you 3 things to change this week. Number 1, audit your last 10 posts. I want you to go to your Instagram right now, and I really would love it if you just DM this to me because I want to do kind of a little poll. But look at your last 10 posts and ask yourself one question for each one. Does this diagnose my buyer's problem, or does it just share something? If the honest answer is more than half of your posts are about you, then that's your answer. That's where your sales are going. Number 2, add an offer mention to every single piece of content you create from today forward. Not a hard pitch. Now, when I say offer, it can also be leading to a lead magnet, a micro experience, or your offer. But I really want you to infuse into everything you create something like, this is exactly why inside my blank, we do blank, right? So you're subtly mentioning it, and then you have a very clear CTA. You tell them what you want them to do. I don't care if you talk about it every single day. I want you to talk about it every single day, all the time. Okay. Number 3, make sure your content is prescribing, not performing. Before you publish anything, I want you to ask yourself, does this show my ideal client, or what I call the BFE? Does this show my BFE that I understand her specific problem? Does this make her feel like I wrote this just for her? Does this move her closer to my offer, or does it just make her want to follow me? Because we're not into vanity metrics around here. Feeling good about following you is nice. Feeling like your offer is the exact thing she's been looking for, that is what's going to actually pay your bills. So I want to bring you back to something personal for a second. Right now, I don't know when you're listening to this, but I am going to be spending a day on a yacht with some of the most powerful female entrepreneurs, 7 and 8 figure business owners, masterminding together. And I'm getting ready to speak at Mom Summit 2.0. And maybe that's happened by the time you're listening to it, or hasn't. I don't know. I'm in a mastermind that I'm in because I always say don't trust a coach who isn't being coached. And when I think about how I got here into these rooms, onto these stages, onto that boat, it traces back to one thing. I stopped worrying what other people thought, and I started creating content for my BFE. And my BFE is someone who doesn't mess around. She's someone who doesn't think that, she doesn't need a birth course. She's someone who realizes she wants to have a powerful, calm birth and she needs help. So she's not offended if I sell my course all the time. In fact, she wants it and she buys it and she doesn't mind. So I want you to really think about your shift you need to make right now. Like, who is your BFE? And is she someone who'd be offended by you selling or someone who would buy? And that can change everything. We don't care about people who would get offended. Now, do we care about people who just follow and don't buy? Yes, of course. But our ideal person, your BFE, is the person who wants to buy from you. And when you create that shift from performing to prescribing, from entertaining to selling, it's what builds everything. Not overnight and not from one viral moment or 20. It's from daily intentional content that sells. And that happens when you know exactly who you're talking to and exactly what she needs. Your audience doesn't need performance. They need you showing up as the, in all caps, expert who understands their problem and clearly tells them you have a solution. That is the content that builds a business, and that is the content that builds freedom. And that is what I want for you. So here's your recap. Getting views and saves, but making 0 sales means your content is building a freebie zone, right? People that love you but won't buy from you. And the fix is 2 things working together. Content that diagnoses exactly what her problem is. Dial in on it. Be specific so that she thinks you wrote it just for her. And selling your offer every single darn day, okay? Without feeling apologetic. Your 3 actions this week: audit your last 10 posts, add an offer mention to everything that you post from here on out, and ask yourself before you publish, does this prescribe or perform? So next week, we're going to be talking about the 7-11-4 rule, which I believe we've talked about before, but we're going to dive deeper, and why your audience isn't buying yet. And it has nothing to do with your offer or your price. So don't miss it. If this episode cracked something inside of you wide open, subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series. We have a few more episodes left, and then of course we publish every Friday, and all of it builds on everything we've covered. So share this with the female entrepreneur in your world who sells offers to moms or parents, or B2C, not B2B, who has a beautiful engaged audience but can't figure out why she's not selling the darn thing. So this episode might be the thing that finally explains it for her. Leave me a review, and it only takes 2 minutes, but it means everything in the world for me. Thank you so much if you do it and help other women find the show. Come find me on Instagram at @IamTrishWare and tell me, what are you changing in your content this week? DM me. I want to know. Okay, this was your cosmic slap on the booty this week. Now go create content that sells and go sell your offer. When you sell, you sell. I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.